order. I would like to ask for all participants on this call to mute their audio at all times unless they're speaking. We're going to ask Director Lane to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and he's the only one that will be unmuted, and we'll just join along with him at our own homes. Director Lane, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Yes, it'd be my honor. Can everyone place their hand over their heart and repeat after me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Madam Secretary, roll call vote, please.
Thank you, Madam President. Division 7, Gary Van Dam.
Here.
Division 6, Audrey Miller.
Here.
Division 5, Robert Paris.
Here.
Division 4, Justin Lane.
Here.
Division 3, Frank Donato. Division 2, Keith Dias. Division 1, Shelley Sourceable.
Here.
Also
Thank you, Madam
present
Secretary. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Also present are Dwayne Chisam and Tilden Kim and Pam Clark.
Thank you very much. Item number 4, adoption of agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll move we adopt the agenda. This is Director Lane.
Rob Harris, I'll second that motion.
You know what? I'm unmuted. I guess. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Director Donato. Please let the record. Please let the record show that Director Donato is on the call and has been.
Will do.
Okay. Any discussion on adoption of the agenda? Roll call vote, please.
Division 7, Gary Van Dam.
Yes.
Division 6, Audrey Miller.
Yes.
Division 5, Robert Paris.
Yes.
Division 4, Justin Lane.
Yes.
Division 3, Frank Donato.
Yes.
Division 2, Keith Dias. Division 1, Shelley Sourceable.
Yes. Item number 5, public comment period. At this portion of the agenda, if any individual would like to address the board, you may do so, but please identify yourself when addressing the board. Any comments? Seeing none, moving on to item number 6, new business. General Manager Chisam?
Yes. Board President Sourceful and members of the board, the new business item that we have for you today is Aqua JPIA provided us a refund check in the amount of $89,954.55. This is out of our rate stabilization fund. And they provided this type of refund to us in the last several years. And how this works is the agency pays to JPIA for our workman's comp, liability, and those types of insurances. We pay, in 2019, we paid $278,147. And as we go through the year, they determine how many losses that we have. And we have a maximum amount that we can have in the account of $73,110. So any money that's remaining in that account above that $73,110 over during that particular year is refunded back to the agency. And as you can see, that amount is reflected in the $89,954, and that's related to our very low workman's comp rate of claims and liability claims that we've had for the last several years. So it's a good news story.
Fantastic.
Happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions? Okay, thank you, General Manager Chisam. Item number 7, consent calendar. I'd like to pull item 7A1, the approval of the minutes of the board meeting of March 5th, as I was not present at that meeting. Can I get a motion to approve the other item 7A2?
I'll make a motion we approve item 7A2. This is Keith.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Division 7, Gary Van Dam.
Yes.
Division 6, Audrey Miller.
Yes.
Division 5, Robert Paris.
Yes.
Division 4, Justin Lane.
Yes.
Division 3, Frank Donato.
Yes.
Division 2, Keith Dias.
Yes.
Division 1, Shelley Sorsable.
Yes. Motion passes. Consent calendar item 7A1, approval of minutes of board meeting of March 5th, 2020.
Did you, Board President Sorsable, did you have a correction for the minutes?
Not a correction. I just need to abstain because I was not present at that meeting.
Ah, I see. Okay.
So that's why I needed to pull it out. So can I, do I have a motion to approve item 7A1?
I'll make a motion we approve item 7A1. This is Keith.
Second?
Second, Director Lane.
Director Miller, I'll second.
Who was that seconded it, please?
Director Miller.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Division 7, Gary Van Dam.
Yes.
Division 6, Audrey Miller.
Yes.
Division 5, Robert Paris.
I abstain.
Division 4, Justin Lane.
Yes.
Division 3, Frank Donato.
Yes.
Division 2, Keith Dias.
Yes.
And Shelley Sorsable abstain.
Exactly, abstain. Thank you. Item 8, Finance Committee, Director Donato.
Yes, the Finance Committee met yesterday, and we have item 8A1, considerable action and possible action, award a contract for the Acton treatment plant, the ceiling supports, and administration mechanical enclosure. So, do I go with Dwayne with this, or I go to
Justin Lipsey, our engineering manager, is at the podium to provide a staff report for this item for the board.
Yes. Hey, Justin, before you do that, give a little bit of background for the rest of the board members on this, what happened here.
Yeah, absolutely, Director Donato. Thank you. Good evening, President Sorsable, members of the board. I hope everybody's doing well. So included in your pack is a staff report for these approved capital projects, CP 20-07 and 20-08, which is the ceiling support structure at the Acton Water Treatment Plant and mechanical equipment enclosure here outside the new administration building. So at the Acton Water Treatment Plant, there is a maintenance building, a maintenance room within the treatment plant, which has a concrete ceiling. And on the story above that is a chemical storage room, and that concrete ceiling serves as the concrete floor for that room. So some hairline cracks have been forming in that concrete ceiling for some time. It hasn't really become too big of an issue until recently. Staff discovered some sagging associated with that cracking in the ceiling, and concerned about the longevity of that structure, especially if that treatment plant were to come back online and the chemical tanks on the floor above were to be filled. We're concerned about the structural integrity. So back in late 2018, staff got approval from the board to have AECOM design a steel structural support to arrest that sagging and ensure that building would be structurally sound for some more years to come. So staff took that drawing to some local contractors. We requested bids on putting in that steel support from 7 local contractors, and we received 2 bids on that item. And we went to the same 7 local contractors for the mechanical equipment enclosure here at the Operations Center expansion. So as part of the Operations Center expansion project, a water heater, HVAC, and some related equipment were installed onto a pad on the northwest corner of this building. That pad contains some cinder block walls and a fence in front, but no roof structure to shield that equipment from the elements. So concerned about the longevity of the brand new equipment that was installed, staff had AV Engineering, who designed the building, design and mechanical equipment enclosure with a roof and a roll-up door to get that equipment out of the elements and ensure that the maximum lifespan was achieved. So AV Engineering did that drawing. It's going to include some color match panels, a roof, and a roll-up door to aesthetically blend with the new building here. And it's going to keep all that equipment out of the elements, as I mentioned. So we went to those same 7 local contractors. The bid summary is included in your staff report for those items. And as you can see from the table there, Valley Iron was the low bidder on both of those projects. They submitted their total bids summed to $88,775, which is $21,225 under the approved budget for these projects, which was $110,000 combined. Valley Iron is a local contractor here. They're located at L8 and 10th Street West. They're in Lancaster. And they hold a current and active C51 structural steel contractor's license. They're well known around the valley. They've been in business probably close to 30 years, I think. And unless there are any additional questions, staff and the Finance Committee both recommend the board award a contract to Valley Iron in the amount of $88,775 for both of these projects and authorize the general manager to execute the agency's standard contract. Be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Do we have any questions or comments from the board?
I'll move on board order 881 to award the bid of $88,775.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay,
Rob Paris.
thank you. Any discussion? Any questions? Roll call vote, please.
Division 7, Gary Van Dam.
Yes.
Division 6, Audrey Miller.
Yes.
Division 5, Robert Paris.
Yes.
Division 4, Justin Lane.
Yes.
Division 3, Frank Donato.
Yes.
Division 2, Keith Dias.
Yes.
Division 1, Shelley Sourceable.
Yes. Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Director Donato.
Yes. Item 8A2, consideration of possible action on approved purchase order for replacement of the east
East Side Water Treatment Plant.
Water utility pumps and east side water treatment plant wash water tank pumps and DRC pumps of $24,824.56. Manager is John there? Bozigian?
Yes, Director Donato, John Bozigian is here and provide a staff report for this particular item.
Good evening.
Good evening.
John.
As part of our asset replacement program, we're trying to target items within the agency facilities that are getting close to the end of their lifespan, their useful lifespan. Two of those items included in the approved budget were as Frank said, the Eastside Water Treatment Plant utility pump and the wash water tank pump. These are vertical turbine pumps. One is 7.5 horsepower, one is 10 horsepower. They're 30 years old. The one pump keeps water flowing around the plant for hydrants, for eye washes, for restroom, and different utility functions. Wash water tank pump pumps treated water up to a tank up on a hill, and that's the water we use to backwash our filters with. These pumps are, we targeted $50,000. We allotted $50,000 to replace both pumps and motors. Upon further inspection, the motors appear to be in very good shape. So we did just put out an RFP to replace the pumps. And we approached DRC Pump Systems, who's a local pump company, and they've done a lot of work for us. And we also approached Farm Pump and Irrigation out of Shafter. They've done a lot of work for the agency also. Bakersfield Well and Pump was approached. They were too busy right now to submit a proposal. So we went with the two. And DRC Pump Systems came in at $24,824.56. Farm Pump was just slightly higher, about $1,000 higher. So very close. We feel comfortable going with DRC. They do a good job for us. And we did come in about $24,000 under budget on these items. So we would recommend going with DRC Pumps. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, John.
Okay, I move on board order 882 to award the bid for $24,824.56.
I'll second the motion. This is Keith.
Any questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Division 7, Gary Van Dam.
Yes.
Division 6, Audrey Miller.
Yes.
Division 5, Robert Paris.
Yes.
Division 4, Justin Lane.
Yes.
Division 3, Frank Donato.
Yes.
Division 2, Keith Dias.
Yes.
Division 1, Shelley Sourceable.
Yes. Motion passes. Thank you.
That concludes the finance report.
Thank you very much, Director Donato. Item number 8B, Director Paris.
Yes, I believe Dwayne will do that presentation for us tonight.
Thank you.
This is the new project's funding source and grants committee report, and in actuality, Matt Knudson will provide the staff report for the board.
Thank you, Dwayne. Good evening, Madam President, members of the board. So what you have before you this evening is consideration of designating applicants on behalf of the agency on a resolution with the California Office of Emergency Services. So including your board packet is a brief memo, a staff report that's on page 25. And attached to that staff report is the proposed resolution. So just a little bit of background, this information was presented to the committee. And Cal OES, Office of Emergency Services, requires a designation of an applicant agent for resolution to be filled out in order to apply and receive public assistance grants. So as you know, the COVID-19 emergency that's on us, there's an opportunity here to make sure that the agency is covered in the event that we have any expenses to maintain our operation as a result of the COVID emergency. So staff thought it'd be a good idea to get this resolution filled out, submitted to the Office of Emergency Services in the event that we do have future expenses from this emergency. And kind of an example, you may be asking yourselves is what type of emergency could the agency have in the event of the COVID-19? And one example given to the committee was in the event that our treatment plant operators became ill because of this disease, and we had to go out and secure outside employees to operate the facilities. That would potentially be an expense that the agency had that would be covered under this grant program through the Office of Emergency Services. Any questions?
Thank you, Manager Knudson. Any questions?
This is Audrey Miller. I have a question. In looking at the application, we have checked this is a universal resolution and is effective for all open and future disasters up to 3 years. So that sounds pretty general. If we could be able to maybe use this in a future event that's other than COVID-19. That's my question.
That is correct. You know, kind of through all the work that the agency is doing with preparation for emergencies through our emergency preparedness plan, our hazard mitigation plan, applying for this or submitting this resolution will set us up for any other emergencies over the next 3-year period.
Thank you.
Yep, good question.
Yes, good question. Any others? Okay,
Madam Secretary, this is Rob Harris. I'll move approval of Board Order 8B1.
I'll second the motion.
Any questions or comments? Madam Secretary, roll call vote, please.
Division 7, Gary Van Dam.
Yes.
Division 6, Audrey Miller.
Yes.
Division 5, Robert Paris.
Yes.
Division 4, Justin Lane.
Yes.
Division 3, Frank Donato.
Yes.
Division 2, Keith Dias.
Yes.
Division 1, Shelley Sourceable.
Yes. Motion passes. And thank you very much to staff for keeping your eyes open for things like that can help us in case we do need it. Okay, item 8C, Director Dias.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. The Delta Conveyance and Negotiations Committee met on April 9th to discuss a proposed Lewis Solar Amendment number 2, which the committee supports and recommends for full board approval, but I believe our Assistant General Manager Knudson has a presentation for the full board.
Thank you, Vice President Dias. So good evening again. We have a brief presentation here to go through the item, but maybe just reference page number 30 in your board packet. There's a staff report, and the proposed amendment number 2 that we're considering this evening is attached to that memorandum. So just give everybody a visual. It's always good to know when we're talking about a particular project or facility. It's good to know where that is. So hopefully you all can see your screen.
Can everybody see the screen? Excuse me, because if you can't see it, if you click on it, it'll enlarge. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No problem. So see that, and hopefully you can see my mouse there. So this vertical line here, this red line, this is Avek's easterly boundary line. So everything to the west is within this Avek service area, and everything to the east or right-hand side is within Mojave Water Agency's service area. The blue lines that you see here to the west, this is the extension of our north feeder system. So this is the far east end of our north feeder. And then we've got some facilities down to the south here that serve some facilities. So the Lewis Solar, also known as FPL, is out here. It's actually outside of Avek's service area. You can see the solar facility here. Hopefully you can see my mouse on the far east end of that. This is Highway 58 that runs east and west. So that kind of gives everybody a bearing of where this facility is. So currently, Avek serves water to FPL. We have a turnout that's along our north feeder over here on the west end here. And then that water goes through a meter and turnout. And Lewis Solar, or FPL, has their own pipeline that they own and operate and maintain that runs all the way east to their facility. So this agreement has been in place. I'm going to move off the map if that's okay, unless anybody needs more time to view the map. So we entered into a water service agreement with Lew's Partners back in 1986 to serve this project. It's located near Kramer Junction. As I mentioned, it is within the Mojave service area. The original 1986 contract was first amended in 2011 to reduce the quantity of water that they were paying capacity charges on from 2,250 acre feet per year down to 1,800 acre feet per year. So just recently, we received a request from Lew's to reduce that capacity charge even further because they're suspending their current operation out there, and they need some time to work through whatever their future plans are out there. So their request now is to reduce it from 1,800 acre feet down to 15 acre feet. So Lew's, as I mentioned, is outside our service area and therefore receives water through Mojave Water Agency's State Water Project Table A allocation, and it's delivered to Lew's through Avek's existing facilities. Avek does not collect property taxes on revenue from Lew's, and in exchange for that, there is a cost built into their water rate for the actual quantity of water that they receive from Avek, and their current rate is currently 1,573 acre feet per year. So that's bullet number 2. And including, or separate from that, Lew's is required to pay a capacity fee to the agency. And that capacity fee is what they're requesting to reduce from 1,800 acre feet per year down to 15 acre feet per year. And this capacity charge or capital charge will be adjusted annually based on the engineering news record. And this is also something new in this amendment number 2. Previously, it was tied to the consumer price index, but the committee recommended to tie this to the engineering news record index, which is more applicable for these types of agreements. And just kind of a financial impact to the agency for moving forward with this amendment. Sorry, let me look here real quick. Okay, so if you look on page 31 of your packet, there's a copy of the actual amendment. And in there, you can see that the current capacity charge is $389,034. That will be reduced to $3,242. And that capacity charge is what will be adjusted annually. There is also a provision in here if for any reason Lew's in any 1 year exceeds the 15 acre feet per year capacity, that we'll have the ability to renegotiate this agreement. That way we're not allowing them to spike or peak off of our facilities in the event they exceed the 15 acre feet per year. That would be renegotiated at that time. So with that, open up to any questions, but staff and the committee are recommending approval of this amendment number 2 with Lew's Solar.
How much are they paying an acre foot?
So on the actual water delivered to the facility, they pay $1,573 per acre foot.
Okay.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion we approve Board Order 8C1. This is Keith.
I'll second.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Division 7, Gary Van Dam.
Yes.
Division 6, Audrey Miller.
Yes.
Division 5, Robert Paris.
Yes.
Division 4, Justin Lane.
Yes.
Division 3, Frank Donato.
Yes.
Division 2, Keith Dias.
Yes.
Division 1, Shelley Sourceable.
Yes. Motion passes. Thank you. Does that conclude your report?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item number 9, old business. Do we have any?
No old business.
Okay. Item 10, General Manager's report.
Yes, I'm going to go to the podium for just a short minute here. You can take a look at your screens. You will see that I am modeling our new cloth masks that were provided to all staff as part of the COVID-19 response, and in response to the directive that all essential workers cover their face with a cloth mask when they have any contact with the public. So we've secured all these masks for all of the staff so that they can continue and we can comply with the directive from the state. So,
where's the Avek emblem on them?
Yeah, I was going to ask, why didn't you get them embroidered with Avek?
Yeah.
We will have some Avek products, but we got these in a hurry. So,
yeah, the only thing I think we should have a lot of those hand sanitizer. Those things work. Everybody wants them now.
Exactly. Hot item for sure. Okay, let's go ahead. Your report for. Let's see. Let me go back. A report for April 14th, 2020. Our northern forecast, we're clear through the week, and snow elevations will drop from 9,000 feet to 3,000 by the middle of next week. We have a little bit of chance of rain Friday through Monday. Unfortunately, we are getting a little bit of rain, but certainly not enough to change the weather conditions markedly. This is the Northern Sierra graph, and once again, you can see that here's March. We were hoping for a good March. It was short of average, and the snowpack was improved, but not not significantly. And you can see we're doing pretty good for April. But things, as you can see, drop off pretty severely once you get through April. So I'm not sure, given the conditions in the state and also the uncertainty with regards to the incidental take permits that were recently issued, where DWR is going to go with allocation. There's a meeting, an operations meeting next Tuesday, where we might get some insight as to what the studies are showing. But we'll keep you abreast of that. By and large, because of our water bank and the carryover water that we've maintained within San Luis Reservoir, we're going to be able to meet all of our customer needs this year coming up. Once again, this is the diagram. This is where we are right now. You can see how things have helped out a little bit here. This little steepness in this graph right in here in March. Here's where average is, and you can see we're pretty low. The driest year was 19 inches, and we're 28, 29 inches right now. So, and you can see in almost all cases, this graph seems to flatten out pretty severely in the next 30 days or so. Good news with regards to the state as a whole is it was a really wet year last year, and consequently our reservoirs are full. There were times a few years ago when most of this was gold and not blue, and we had a lot more concern with regards to that. But you can see we're still 67 total capacity, about 86% of our average at Lake Coralville. And we can see that we're at 76% total capacity, about 85%. So reservoirs storage wise, we're looking pretty good for Avek and for the state as a whole. Wanted to provide you the March activities report of the things that occurred in March. We had Santec was selected as our design consultant for the High Desert Water Bank, and we had a kickoff meeting that was held. The board also approved the Groundwater Resources Association was added to our approved list of conferences and events. Other activities that occurred, we took measures to maximize our response for the COVID-19 emergency. We purchased 2 F-150 cabin chassis for our maintenance department. We updated the AV Integrated Regional Water Management Plan. The Cal City feeder was repaired, was completed, and we've also are underway rehabilitating the Phillips Lab rocket site pump station for their use. We also amended the DCFA Joint Powers Agreement. It was approved by the board, and we continue to participate in the ongoing negotiations for the Delta Conveyance Project. We also participated in the state water meetings regarding the new incidental take permit and the impacts on long-term state water project operations. I'm hoping to provide you with an update with regards to this whole operation. The State Water Project Committee did not meet last month due to some scheduling circumstances on my part, but we will have a meeting next week, and we'll be able to come back to the board and give you an overview of what's happening at the state and federal level with regards to the impacts on operations of the State Water Project. From water quality, you can see that we've maintained our internal goal. We have some testing being done at Leona Valley Reservoir, and we have our lab staff is rotating schedules, and we're also working really closely with ELAP to make sure that if there's any other labs that need some assistance, we'll be able to provide that with them. Some other matters that we dealt with in March included the approval of the purchasing policy was adopted. We approved a term sheet for the Wells Fargo for the letter of credit renewal. We also took a look at our vehicle replacement and maintenance program through an outside vendor. And then we've also requested the item that was approved tonight, which was the Cali OAS response for public assistance. We've also selected a agency-wide compensation study that's underway, and we're also in the midst of reviewing our guidelines for service for directors. And we've all been preparing for our workplace for the COVID-19 emergency. And we did do a press release on our Antelope Valley College Scholarship Endowment Investment Program that the board approved, and we got a published article. Our stakeholder database and media distribution list was established, and we're notified all of our customers for the COVID-19 response to make sure that they are aware that the agency will continue to be able to provide water service for all of our customers. As far as regulatory updates, I mentioned to you the incidental take permit by the Department of Fish and Wildlife. It puts some additional restrictions on our long-term operations with the State Water Project. There's likely going to be continued litigation associated with these matters, and as I indicated to you previously, we're hoping to put together a outline that'll help all of us understand the impacts that might be derived from this fight between the state and the federal government and biological opinions and so forth. We also have HR 2533 that was introduced to provide $2 billion in grants to communities each year for the next decade to address contamination for PFAS. So you can see that there is some work going that way. And as I mentioned to you a little bit earlier, the governor signed an executive order temporarily suspending water districts to shut off water to residential customers in response to COVID-19 emergency. While we don't have very many of those retail customers to speak of, but just make note of that. The events and schedules, the Water Master Board meeting is Wednesday, 4/22nd, and I will be in the office because all outside meetings are all by teleconference, so I'll be in the office for the rest of the month. I would anticipate, and probably most of at least half of next month. So happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Dwayne, just one question. What have you been doing all month?
Yeah, thank you.
A lot's going on. That was a good update.
Yes, and I want to add that we've done these monthly updates for the board for the first 2 or 3 months, and what we're hoping to do is compile these into an annual report that we'll be able to publish to document the work that's being done and provide some historical background for future generations that wondered why we did that the way we did it.
Great. Is that it? Does that conclude your report?
That does conclude my report. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Item number 11, directors' reports. Do any of the directors have anything to report? I just have one comment, and I just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention that you received an email from Pam showing the closed session instructions. So if you haven't seen that, you might want to check that. Item 12, attorney report.
Yes, this is Tilden Kim. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So as General Manager Chisam had referenced the executive order regarding the cessation of cutoff of water to residential customers, I wanted to just further elaborate on that. Because I think it is a general interest for everyone, even though this really doesn't apply to Avek. I'll repeat, it doesn't apply to Avek because of the very limited number of retail customers that we have. But the executive order that General Manager Chisam was mentioning was issued on April 2nd of this year, and it's Executive Order N-42-20. And there's some unique aspects of it when you read the details of the executive order. And so, number one, that water service connections to residential and businesses that had been disconnected from March 4th are ordered to be reconnected. So it's a retroactive executive order. And then it's not only just to residences, but also any businesses in the critical infrastructure sectors that this executive order also applies to. And then the executive order also directs the State Water Resources Control Board to identify best practices and guidelines to address non-payment issues, as well as issues relating to continued service to these customers. And then lastly, the executive order does expressly state that nothing in this order eliminates the obligation of water customers to pay for water service or reduces the amount that a customer already may owe to the water provider. So those are the sort of the more specific details of that broad executive order. And that concludes my presentation. If anyone has any questions.
Any questions? Thank you for your report. Item number 13, request for future agenda items. Do we have any from the directors? Okay, moving on to item 14, closed session. Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
On item C and D.
Oh, C and D, thank you.
I'll make a motion. We go into closed session for item C and D. This is Keith.
This is Rob. I'll second that motion.
Roll call vote, please.
Division 7, Gary Van Dam.
Yes.
Division 6, Audrey Miller.
Yes.
Division 5, Robert Paris.
Yes.
Division 4, Justin Lane.
Yes.
Division 3, Frank Donato.
Yes.
Division 2, Keith Dias.
Yes.
Division 1, Shelley Sorsable.
Yes. Okay, we will go into closed session in, let's say, 10 minutes. So close enough, let's say 7:30.
Hey, don't we have to log off?
Yes, you will log out of here and log into the...
Yeah, let them know that. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I did. I thought I did. Thank you.